You've seen this phrase before. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. John 3:16. It's the most famous verse in the Bible. You'll find it on tattoos, t-shirts, billboards, Instagram posts. Everyone has seen it, but almost nobody knows where it came from. And when you find out, this verse will never be the same for you again. This verse was not preached in a church. It was not said to a crowd. It was born in a secret conversation, at midnight, on a dark street. There was a man named Nicodemus. He was one of the most powerful and respected men in all of Jerusalem. He was a member of Israel's Supreme Court, the group of 71 men who controlled the law and religion of the entire Jewish people. This man wanted to talk to Jesus, but he had a huge problem. His colleagues were already plotting against Jesus. If anyone saw Nicodemus talking to him, it would be over. His reputation, his career, maybe even his life. So Nicodemus waited until midnight, when the streets were empty and no one could see him. Then he went. Picture this scene. A dark street in Jerusalem, stone walls on both sides, just one torch lighting two faces. On one side, one of the most powerful men in the city. On the other side, Jesus. Nicodemus begins to speak. Jesus gets straight to the point. And in the middle of that secret conversation, on an empty street at midnight, John 3:16 was born. Now here's the part most people never hear. When Jesus said God loved the world, that phrase was explosive. Why? Because at the time, Jewish people believed that God loved Israel. Only Israel. Other nations were on the outside. Salvation was for the chosen people. If you weren't born in the right place, in the right family, following the right rules, you were out. When Jesus said, the world, he was saying something nobody expected to hear. The whole world, all of humanity. No exceptions, no borders. It doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter if you've never set foot in a church in your life. And then comes another part that hits even deeper. Whoever believes in him. Whoever, anyone. Not the most religious person, not the one who followed every rule, not the one who never made a mistake, not the one who grew up in church and has every verse memorized. Anyone who believes. Nicodemus spent his entire life trying to be perfect. He studied the law from childhood. He followed every rule. He had an impeccable reputation. He was exactly the kind of person everyone thought deserved God's favor. And Jesus was saying, it wasn't about that. It was about believing. Now bring this into your own life. Have you ever felt like you were on the outside? Like this verse was beautiful for other people, but maybe not quite for you? Maybe you don't go to church. Maybe it's been years since you prayed. Maybe you believe in God but don't really consider yourself a real Christian. Maybe you've done things that make you think. This verse is for a lot of people, but I'm not sure it's for me. You know what's interesting? Nicodemus was the opposite of all that. He was religious. He followed the rules. He knew the law by heart. And yet he went to Jesus in the darkness of midnight, hiding, afraid, full of doubt. Because deep down, even with all that religion, he knew something was missing. And Jesus didn't say to him, you need to study more, you need to follow more rules, you need to be better. He said, whoever believes. Think about the people you know. That friend who has never been to church but has a better heart than a lot of people who go every Sunday. That family member who walked away from everything related to faith after a deep pain, a loss, a disappointment, something that hurt them badly. That person who posts Bible verses on Instagram, but on the inside is completely lost and doesn't even know where to begin. John 3:16 was spoken for all of those people, not in a sermon, not in a temple. On a dark street, to a confused man who went looking for an answer he didn't even know how to ask for. John 3:16 is not just a pretty verse to put on your wall, it's a declaration that God's love has no border, no criteria, no list of requirements. It doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter where you are right now. It doesn't matter if you're full of doubt or if it's been a long time since you talked to God. Whoever believes in him. Whoever. That includes you. If this video changed the way you see this verse, share it with someone you think needs to hear it. And if you want to keep finding out what the Bible actually says, subscribe and hit the bell. There's a lot more where this came from.